Tropius is an example of one of those Pokemon that is just very forgettable. It's not seen too often in the games, it never had a prominent card in the TCG, and the most notable instance of Tropius in the Pokemon universe comes in Pokemon Emerald, where the gym leader Winona has one on her team. On top of this, Tropius is also one of the worst Pokemon we've seen out of the 3rd generation. If you guys are unfamiliar, in this series we should take a look at some of the worst Pokemon in the game and discuss if they're completely useless or if they have some sort of viable use. Each Pokemon rated on a scale 1 to 5 based on their offense, defense, versatility, move pool, and overall viability. If a Pokemon doesn't excel in any of these categories, then it is deemed to be one of the worst Pokemon. If one of the Pokemon discussed in this series happens to be one of your favorite Pokemon, I do apologize, but just because a Pokemon is your favorite doesn't mean that it is safe from being in one of these videos. If you guys enjoy this and you want to see more, make sure you subscribe and leave a like, and let me know in the comments down below what Pokemon I'll see featured in this series in the future. Now please make sure you check out the full playlist in the description to see what Pokemon has been used thus far before recommending something, because if you suggest something I've already recommended, I'm just going to reply to you saying, hey, did that already. And of course, please only recommend Pokemon that are actually bad. Sometimes I get recommendations for Pokemon that are actually pretty good. It wouldn't make sense to make a video on a good Pokemon. So taking a closer look at Tropius, it is a flying and grass type Pokemon with the abilities Chlorophyll, Harvest, and Solar Power. Tropius has a stat line of 99 HP, 68 attack, 83 defense, 72 special attack, 87 special defense, and 51 speed. These aren't the most glamorous stats, with your highest stat being only 99 HP, but at least you have 3 pretty usable abilities. Moving on to the positives, one of the first positives of Tropius, it has pretty decent support. You have Leech Seed, you have Sub, you have Tailwind and Defog, and you have your ability Harvest, which can get a berry back for you, which is actually pretty useful on some different sets. And then moving on to the next one, you have 3 usable abilities. Chlorophyll is nice to double your speed in the sun, Harvest is nice to have a chance to get your berry back after each turn, and Solar Power is pretty nice because in the sun you do more damage. Tropius also has pretty okay defenses, so they're definitely not the worst that we've seen. I mean, you got 80 in both defenses at least, and 99 HP. Not the worst thing in the world, but it's really not all that great. You also have access to Dragon Dance, which is a pretty good move to have. Your attack stat is pretty low at only 68, and so is your speed stat at 51. After one Dragon Dance, you help that a little bit. You're still kind of slow, but it is nice to have access to one of the best setup moves in the game. And now on to the negatives. You just have low attack stats. 68 in physical attack and 70 in special attack really isn't going to cut it. You also have a pretty decent amount of weaknesses, being flying and grass. You're obviously 4 times weak to ice, you're weak to fire. Kind of a lot of weaknesses on this thing. You're weak to stealth rocks as well, which has been unfortunate. Not really the best defensive standpoint when you have all of these weaknesses. You also have no stat above 100, which I would consider a negative because generally speaking, most good Pokemon, unless we're talking about Clefable, have at least one stat above 100, and this Pokemon doesn't have any. 99 is close, but it's not 100. And you're pretty slow. You have 51 speed, your bulk isn't the best, you're not really going to take too many hits, and you're not going to outspeed anything. 51 speed is a pretty awkward speed tier. You're like really slow, so you're not going to do much. Even after one Dragon Dance, you're still kind of slow, like I said earlier. It would be nice to see this thing get higher speed though. For some improvements, I think just general more bulk would help this thing. Maybe give it like 110 HP and then some more physical defense and special defense, maybe in the 90s. That'd be kind of nice because then it would be a little bit better as a sub Leech Seeder in the lower tiers in my opinion. And also if it had more speed, something around like 80 speed. 80 speed is a pretty good speed stat to be at because after one Dragon Dance, you outspeed a lot of things, but 80 speed in general isn't really that fast, so I don't think it'll break Tropius to boost his speed stats to 80. And then slightly more offenses would be nice. Your offenses are around 70, really not the best. If you had a higher physical attack of even just like 85 or 90, nothing too crazy, it would still be kind of nice after one Dragon Dance. It would certainly make this Pokemon a little bit more useful, not that great, but definitely better than it is now. It also kind of reminds me a bit of Serebii, this Pokemon, before it got Contra in a way. Now, yes, you are a lot slower and you have a little bit more bulk, but similar to Serebii in the past, one of the best sets before it got Contra was just Sub Leech Seed, and that's something that Tropius does. So for some set recommendations, this set is probably my favorite set because I love the ability Harvest. You got Tropius with a Sitrus Harvest to get your berries back, Bull Nature, Leech Seed, Sub, Air Slash, Energy Ball. Nothing really too crazy here. It goes for subs, you get your Sitrus back, you got Leech Seed to get your health back, you got Harvest to get your Sitrus back. You don't have a lot of bulk, but you can regen a lot of HP with this thing, which is kind of like pseudo bulk in a way, so that can definitely help you in the future. For the next, we have an all-out attacker. We got Tropius with the Life Orb. For the ability, you can run Chlorophyll or Solar Power, depending on what you're using. Max attack, max speed, Jolly Nature, Dragon Dance, Earthquake, Leaf Blade, and Brutal Swing, just because you don't really have that many physical move pool options. Brutal Swing is pretty much the best third move you can run for attacks. You have Leaf Blade for stab, Earthquake is just good, Dragon Dance, like I said earlier, one of the better setup moves in the game. This set, like I said though, the biggest problem is even after one Dragon Dance, you really don't outspeed much. You're going to probably have to go for 2. and pulling off 2 Dragon Dances with something with this many weaknesses, not going to be too easy. And then for the last set, we have a Tropius with a Lumberry, or a Chestoberry if you want, doesn't really matter, just a basic Resto Chesto with Harvest. This kind of reminds me a little bit of the Trevenant sense you would see in early X and Y. When Trevenant first came out, I know a lot of people used Harvest, Citrus Berry, Sub. It was a pretty fun set to use, not the greatest, but you can pull off some pretty cheeky things with this Pokemon, and it's one of the better sets for Tropius. So in terms of ratings, and don't expect anything too high, for offense we will give it a 1.5 out of 5. Although the stats are pretty low, you do have some okay coverage options and access to Dragon Dance as well as Solar Power to help your damage output a little bit. It's not the best, but I don't think it's worthy of a 1. I think a 1.5, just a little bit better than useless, is what it deserves. For defense, I'll give Tropius a 2 out of 5. Tropius' defense stats really aren't that bad, and you can regain a lot of HP thanks to Harvest and a Berry, which is pretty nice, but you do still have a lot of weaknesses, however, which really holds Tropius back from a defensive standpoint, makes it a pretty unreliable defensive Pokemon. Versatility, surprisingly, Tropius has a decent amount of versatility. I will give this thing a 3 out of 5. Like I mentioned earlier, there's a few different sets you can run. Now, Tropius, it's not really great at any one specific area, but it is nice having a few different options with a Pokemon. It's not just a one-trick pony, and although your attack stats are low, the only bright side is since your attack stats are so close together, being 68 and 72, you can be special, you can be physical, you can be mixed. It's kind of nice, although you're not doing a lot of damage. For Movepool, I'll give Tropius a 3 out of 5 because Tropius Movepool really isn't all that bad. You have an okay selection of physical moves, which is nice, and you have some decent support options as well. You get Defog, you get Leech Seed, pretty decent stuff there. Your special Movepool is pretty lacking, which holds Pokemon back a bit, but overall, I think its Movepool is probably its strongest area at a 3 out of 5, which is pretty respectable. And for Viability, I will give Tropius a 1 out of 5. Although Tropius has a pretty okay Movepool, okay defenses, and a few okay sets you can run, the key word here is okay. It's outclassed by pretty much anything that can do a similar job to this thing, and if you want a good low-tier grass-type sweeper, a good offensive option, I would recommend Leafeon. Leafeon's actually pretty decent. If you want a bulky grass type, something like Vileplume would be better. I love using Vileplume. And you can even argue that Trevenant and Exeggutor are better Harvest users because they're just definitely more common. Overall, Tropius can be a fun Pokemon to use that can do a few different things, but even in the lowest of low tiers, there are better options. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe, and let me know what you think of Tropius in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good rest of your day. I will see you guys next time, and bye-bye.